The Lincoln Highway Association presents the Deep Dive Podcast.
Today's episode is entitled Spirit of the Highway and is based on the Forum magazine archives. This episode is brought to you by the Indiana chapter of the Lincoln Highway Association on the web at indianalincolnhighway.org. Welcome back, everyone, to another deep dive. Today, we're all about the open road, specifically the Lincoln Highway, one of those pieces of American history that just captures the imagination.
Oh, absolutely. It's not just a road, is it?
Yeah.
It really embodies that early American car culture, the spirit of adventure and the desire to connect this vast country.
Exactly. And we've got a ton of fascinating material to dig into. We've got tour guides, some old issues of the Lincoln Highway Association magazines. Those are great, by the way. Even personal accounts from people who have traveled the highway. So the plan for this deep dive is to, well, try to pull out the most interesting and relevant bits about this very iconic route.
It's interesting because, while everyone knows about Route 66, the Lincoln Highway actually predates it. I mean, the idea for it was conceived way back in 1912.
It's almost a decade before Route 66.
It is, yeah.
So for folks who aren't familiar with the Lincoln Highway, picture this, right?
Right.
So the early 1900s, cars are starting to become more and more common, but roads are still pretty much dirt paths, barely passable, especially for the cars back then.
You're talking mud, dust, ruts.
A toll works.
Yeah, no real national system.
And that's where this idea of the Lincoln Highway came in, this really ambitious goal to create a continuous paved road that stretched over 3,300 miles.
Think about that. All the way from Times Square in New York City to Lincoln Park in San Francisco.
Talk about a road trip. And of course, they named it after Abraham Lincoln, which just adds this whole extra layer of, patriotism and national identity to the project. It really became more than just connecting point A to point B. It was about connecting the whole nation, fostering unity and progress.
I think that was a huge part of the appeal back then, this sense of a united country, accessible to everyone.
Absolutely. It's hard to overstate how big of a deal this was. Before the Lincoln Highway, cross-country travel meant, weeks on a train? This highway basically symbolized a new era of freedom and mobility. It opened up the country for exploration, for business, for everything, really.
Oh, for sure. It was revolutionary. I mean, I was looking through these Lincoln Highway Association, the LHA magazines, and even for the time, it must have seemed like a monumental task.
Oh, I bet.
I mean, you had visionaries like Carl G. Fisher, right, pushing for it, but actually constructing a road of that scale back then, that must have been a logistical nightmare.
I can't even imagine. What kind of challenges did they run into?
Well, think about it. Navigating all those different terrains, mountains, deserts, plains. Securing funding, too, that's a huge one. And then there was the whole issue of standardizing construction across different states.
Right.
I mean, this wasn't a nationally funded project in the beginning. A lot of it relied on private donations and local efforts.
Wow, so they really had to rally people to get behind this vision. It's incredible they actually pulled it off.
It is, and they came up with some pretty creative solutions along the way. One thing that really caught my eye in the material was this concept of seedling miles. Have you heard of that?
I have. I'm curious to learn more, though.
Well, seedling miles, that was really innovative, I think. The basic idea was to build these short demonstration stretches of concrete road to show people how durable it was compared to dirt or gravel.
Like a little proof of concept, right? Hey, look how much better this concrete stuff is.
Exactly. It was a way to get people excited about the project, to inspire local communities to invest in paving their sections of the highway.
I guess you could call it a very early hands-on marketing campaign.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just about convincing individual towns either. These seedling miles, they caught the attention of government agencies too. It was a demonstration,
Right, showing them that, hey, this could actually work.
Exactly. So it sparked this collaboration between LHA and the government. That really set the stage for what would eventually become our national highway system as we know it.
It's amazing to think that this private initiative, this vision for a single road, ended up influencing the way we travel even today.
It's quite a legacy, isn't it?
It really is. But let's get back to those early days on the Lincoln Highway. We have accounts here of some of the very first journeys. And let me tell you, it sounds like it was quite an adventure. One that really stood out to me was that 1919 Transcontinental military convoy. That wasn't just a leisurely Sunday drive, was it?
No, not at all. This was a huge operation involving a whole bunch of military vehicles and personnel. The goal was to kind of assess, figure out what the condition of this brand new Lincoln Highway was, and also kind of highlight, where it needed more work and further development.
So they were like the original road testers.
Yeah, giving it a real-world test run.
I bet they ran into some, well, a few bumps in the road.
Oh, yeah, you can bet on that. Remember, a lot of the Lincoln Highway, even with the seedling miles, was still unpaved in 1919. They faced breakdowns, bad weather, and sometimes they had to navigate roads that were basically muddy tracks.
Makes you appreciate those nice, smooth, paved roads we have today.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
But it wasn't all hardship, right? I mean, there are all these accounts of like this incredible camaraderie, this spirit of adventure, that classic American road trip spirit was kind of born right there.
You're right. You're right. The 1919 convoy, even with all the challenges, it really captured the public's imagination. It showed people that, hey, the car can really open up this country in ways they'd never thought of before. It connected people and places in this whole new, exciting way.
And that spirit of adventure is still alive today. Our sources here mention that the Lincoln Highway Association, the LHA, they still organize road tours, so people can retrace those historic routes.
It's really cool. I mean, you have people from all walks of life participating, driving vintage cars, modern cars, even motorcycles. It's not just about sightseeing either. It's about really experiencing the history, connecting with the spirit of those first travelers on the Lincoln Highway.
They even did a special tour in 2019 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of that 1919 convoy. Can you imagine? Driving that same route a century later, following in the tire tracks of those pioneers.
Wow, yeah. That must have been something else. I was reading a personal account from someone who participated, and they said it felt like stepping back in time. It's incredible how with the Lincoln Highway, it's not just about the past, it's about how the past connects to the present.
And speaking of connections, one thing that really struck me going through these LHA magazines was the stories about the people who actually live and work along the Lincoln Highway. It's like the highway is not just this road, it's this, this thread that runs through all these communities, weaving together their history and their identity.
Yeah, that's a beautiful way to put it. I mean, the Lincoln Highway fostered a sense of community all across the country. People share stories, they preserve landmarks, they celebrate that whole heritage that the highway represents.
Yeah, and there are some great examples of those connections right here in our source material. Like there's this one story about two former Army buddies who hadn't seen each other in 65 years, reuniting at an LHA meeting. Turns out they'd both served in that military convoy back in 1919.
Wow. What are the odds? So, I mean, that just goes to show you how the Lincoln Highway can still bring people together, even all these decades later.
For sure. And it's not just veterans either. There are stories about families, multiple generations, who have made the Lincoln Highway a part of their lives.
I love those stories.
Layla, this one about this couple that decided to celebrate their retirement by literally following the Lincoln Highway. But get this, in reverse, from west to east. They said it was their way of connecting with history and experiencing the country, but on their own terms, at their own pace.
It's so inspiring how the Lincoln Highway keeps inspiring people today,
Yep.
to explore, to discover, to make their own connections with this piece of history.
It's more than just a road trip, isn't it? It's about slowing down, taking the time to appreciate the journey, and realizing that sometimes you find the coolest things on those back roads, not the interstate.
It is. And in today's world where everything is go, 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 that's such an important message. The Lincoln Highway reminds us that sometimes that scenic route, that's the most rewarding one.
It really is. It's amazing to think that the Lincoln Highway kind of started this whole new way of traveling, experiencing the country, but it also had a huge impact on how our whole national infrastructure developed. I mean, would it be fair to say that the Lincoln Highway was basically the blueprint for the network of highways we have today?
Oh, absolutely. It was the proof that a national road system could work. And it set the stage for those numbered U.S. highways we have today. And ultimately, of course, the whole interstate system.
Think about it, roadside businesses, motels, those classic diners, gas stations, even the whole idea of the road trip, that all goes back to those early days on the Lincoln Highway.
It's this whole ripple effect. And that's what's so fascinating to me, how this one road project basically set off this chain of events that changed our economy, our culture, even the way we live and travel today.
Crazy to think about. But in today's world, with superhighways and everyone using GPS, does a road like the Lincoln Highway still have, relevance? Is it just a relic of the past at this point?
That's where the Lincoln Highway Association, the LHA, they come in. They've been so important in making sure that the Lincoln Highway isn't forgotten. They're working hard, like really hard, to preserve what's left of the original route. Marking it with signs, restoring those old landmarks, and just making sure that people know about its significance.
It's like they're keeping the spirit of the Lincoln Highway alive.
They are, for future generations to appreciate. And they're doing a fantastic job, but there's always more to be done.
True. Which kind of brings us to the question, why should you, the listener, care about a road that was built over a century ago? What can we learn from the Lincoln Highway, even today?
Well, the Lincoln Highway gives us this glimpse into a really important moment in American history, a time when the automobile was changing everything, and people were starting to embrace this new sense of freedom and adventure.
It's a reminder that big innovations, real progress, they don't just happen overnight. It took vision, collaboration, a willingness to overcome obstacles. I mean, people really had to work to make that dream of a transcontinental highway a reality.
And that's a lesson that applies to us today, no matter what challenges we're facing. It reminds us that with enough determination, working together, and a little bit of that pioneering spirit, we can accomplish amazing things.
It also reminds us that the journey itself can be just as important as the destination.
Totally. I mean, picture yourself driving down a quiet stretch of the Lincoln Highway, windows down, wind in your hair, just experiencing the countryside, kind of like those early travelers did. What do you think you would discover? What stories would you encounter?
Almost makes you want to unplug, right? Get off the interstate and just explore.
And that's something we could all use a little more of these days, I think.
Absolutely. You know what's really cool about the Lincoln Highway? It's not just like a faded memory. The LHA has done a great job making sure that it's still accessible today. You can actually go out and follow the original route, see the historic markers, visit all those quirky roadside attractions.
Yeah, it's true. They've got all those markers along the way, and they've preserved sections of the original road. And they even have these detailed maps and guides, so you can retrace those steps of those early travelers.
It's like a roadmap to history.
It is.
It makes me think of, back in the day when people went on road trips before GPS, before all that. You had to use maps and just, use your own sense of adventure.
I know, right? And there's something about that sense of discovery. Yeah. That feeling of not knowing exactly what's around the next bend. It's a completely different kind of travel, much more immersive. You feel more connected to the landscape, to the history, the places you're passing through.
Yeah, and I think that's something we really miss out on today, with everything being so focused on efficiency and just getting there as fast as possible. The Lincoln Highway forces you to slow down, appreciate the journey itself.
It's like stepping back in time, experiencing things at a more human scale. And you never know, you might even start to feel that same sense of wonder and excitement that those early motorists must have felt, when they set out on this big adventure.
I love that. And for our listeners, this isn't just some far-off concept. There are ways to experience the Lincoln Highway wherever you are. Chances are some part of the original route, it goes right through your state, maybe even your town.
Absolutely. The Lincoln Highway wasn't just this coast-to-coast thing. It had branches that went all over. And the LHA, they have all these resources to help you find those local connections, those hidden gems of history right in your own backyard.
It's like looking at your own surroundings with new eyes, recognizing the history that's all around us. Maybe it's an old building that used to be a hotel that catered to those Lincoln Highway travelers. Or maybe it's a stretch of road that still has the original brick paving.
Right, exactly. It's all about connecting with the past in a real tangible way, understanding how it shaped where we are today. And that's something that has value, not just for history buffs. It's for anyone who is just a little bit curious about the world around them.
I think that's a perfect way to sum up what we've learned in this deep dive. The Lincoln Highway, it's more than just a road. It's this symbol of innovation, this testament to, human determination. And it's a reminder that sometimes that journey, it can be just as rewarding, if not more rewarding, than the destination itself.
It's this piece of American history, and it still has the power to inspire, to connect us all. And, it offers this glimpse into a bygone era, but it also makes us appreciate the present and think about what the future of travel and exploration could be.
Well said. So as we wrap up our deep dive into the Lincoln Highway, we want to encourage all of you listening to check it out, explore this amazing route, whether it's through books or online resources or even planning your own road trip adventure.
Yeah. Rediscover the joy of the open road. Who knows, you might even end up making a little history of your own.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Thanks for joining us on this journey down the Lincoln Highway, everyone. Hope you enjoyed the ride. For more information about today's Lincoln Highway, our annual LHA conference, member tours, route maps, and chapter activities, go to our website at lincolnhighwayassociation.org.